Well, hello. My name's Kieron Seamons. This is my inky world, and today we have got to draw some kind of foxy, wolfy type of character. Again, it's going to be for one of those kind of book test type things, and so I've kind of got to get this. It's a nasty character in the book. It hasn't really been specified whether it's a fox or a wolf, but it's something like that. So that's what today is. Today is about finding that character. Let's see if we can just throw down a bit of ink and something come through the inky splashes. Let's have a look. Well, welcome back. Let's start with something. I've got to get some kind of feeling going here, and that's something that's always playing in my mind when starting a drawing. So looks like a bee flying around. So it's always about starting with a feeling, and the feeling is that this character is a starving kind of wolf fox type of thing, and my feeling is I'm going to try to kind of get this kind of feeling that he is very skinny and very desperate, and that's what we're trying to get here. Now I was actually playing with, where's that? Let's just get rid of that. I was playing with this lovely new nib that I got here in Brighton, and it's got a little, don't know if you can see that, but it's got a little dip at the end, and it's a rather delightful nib. And I was playing with it yesterday from the pen to paper shop in Brighton. So that's what we're trying to get across here today. Some kind of starving, rather nasty little kind of wolfy fox dog animal. And I do have this kind of sneaky-eyed kind of feeling for him, and I love this idea of it sitting on a very thick, heavy nose. So already that has come up very, 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 very nice. Again, with the kind of thickness of the eyebrows, was something that this kind of heavy set eyebrows will help to define the character into its kind of nasty state. Get some sneaky little eyes in there. And already we have that feeling already by just capturing it with the eyes. And this nib actually is a very delicate nib, but has enough flex to it that really does give me a lovely versatility with the pen. Now, the idea is that I wanted him to be really fierce looking. Although he's supposed to be kind of starving, I want him to have that desperation. And that's something that I'm trying to get here with this kind of thin kind of nose and thin lips and stuff like that, just kind of giving this impression that he's extremely dangerous And so far so good. What do you think? Sometimes it's a little bit strange when you do these kind of test type things because it's a character, and although you put a lot into trying to capture this character, sometimes it doesn't work. Very rare, I must admit. A lot of times I do feel I put a lot into the character. Now I do feel that it's felt from the person that views it. So I don't just kind of slap happy do stuff. I really put a lot of thought into it. The meaning of the thin lips, the meaning of the thin nose, all of those elements. And again, like the position of the ears, I wouldn't have the ears up, I'd have them more kind of down in that kind of sneaky. I mean, the only thing that I would have, that you could do kind of slightly different maybe would be to try and do one kind of wild crazy eye and one not, but then you're kind of getting into the point, is he insane, is he crazy, is he, whereas actually I'm trying to get this point across that he's starving hungry and he's ready to jump on anything that he sees. And in this particular story, it's a bird. Clever bird. I'll just touch that. I wanted to have a couple of teeth just. Couple of teeth just a little bit not in line, if you know what I mean, a little bit kind of out of, and with the magic of, oh, was there some sauce in that one? There is a tiny bit of juice in this one. Just to remove that line. Perfect. Now the idea is to take that lovely, 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 lovely. The kind of unkempt hair a little bit, just to show that he's been kind of struggling through times, you know. Lovely. And that's the ear in the background there. Put a touch of shading in there. Again, this will be an illustration. This will be in the book. And talking of books, don't forget the new Worry Lips book is out. Ghost-tabulous Experience. As shown here. So, don't forget to go and get one. It's quite a big chunky book, so go and treat yourself to one of my new books. Indeed you should. Why not, why not, why not, says I. quite nice. Sometimes when you're actually working on illustrations for books, it's quite important to kind of have that character in your head, you know, and then at least while you're concentrating on the character and what he looks like, you're kind of, your second brain is starting to think about colors and purples and oranges and stuff like that to give him that kind of fox type of feeling, or wolf, or whatever he ends up to be. But I think in his desperate state, I think it's quite believable that he could be either. Very nice. Now the part of the point of this, doing these type of drawings and having this looseness in your first, and this will be the first time that he appears, is that then you need to take some of those elements, the long thin beak, the rather large snarling teeth, and you need to maintain that once you're actually doing multiple illustrations. When he appears in the next chapter, when he appears at this point, when in this part of the story he's doing that, and you need to maintain some of those pieces. So that's something that to be very aware, not to kind of go too wild with some of this, because you will have to kind of repeat. Now I've got this feeling that he's kind of looking over his shoulder. He's kind of like sitting this way, but he's noticed something over there, and that's the pose that I'm trying to achieve in this. Again, keeping the limbs very thin and somewhat scraggly. Nice feeling. Trying to keep everything nice and thin and fragile looking almost. Keeping that kind of little dog's paw type of feeling. Again, because it's got that lovely delicate touch to this nib, it's very nice to go in and do some of these little thin lines just to touch little bits of detail in there. It's very pretty. It's a nice way of doing things. So when you see this illustration in the book, as I did with the Worry Lips book that you've just seen, you can actually go in and find the page and then find the illustration, which would be a beautiful way for you to look at the illustration, see how it's finalized, and then go back into the videos and then find out exactly how the drawing appeared. In this drawing I probably won't be doing a framing, for the simple reason that this will be on a page with some writing and things like that around it. In those cases I try to keep the borders free, because later on it gives me a lot more freedom of judgment then about, is there words there, what kind of words, how much of the page is going to be used up, you know. Lovely. Bringing those kind of hind legs down. Again, the hind legs is always difficult to draw very in a thin state because the top part of the leg is sometimes very chunky anyway. It's very wide, so I think you have to try and put the pose in so that you can see that the lower part of the leg is thin and fragile, as we are doing here. Trying to get that lovely kind of hind leg type of lovely. I'm trying to leave enough space there for the tail, because the tail will also be quite characteristic of a kind of wolf fox type of character also. So I'm trying to think of some kind of curve to it or something like that. And so far it's got quite a nice kind of scatty type of character to him, which is very, very, very nice, very attractive, especially in this story where he's starving and very, very hungry. I think it fits the character very well. I'm just thinking maybe I can pull in the brush to lovely. And again, that kind of gives us a very nice raggedy type feeling for this character. Just adding a few little flicks in there of unkempt hair just to kind of again get that character of desperation going, which again is very important in how he's seen in the book, how you initially just first see him. A little bit of breakdown of color there for him. That's quite nice. I'm feeling like just a little bit of thickness there for again, that's just to define the character a little bit, just to make that a little bit more kind of clear that there's a difference between the body and the tail, and that's that thickness there that you need. Again, just bringing down some kind of dividing line there with the color, just to kind of it's got a nice feeling to it. I'm just wondering if I can show some kind of distant hill. Very nice. Putting in some type of background to it to kind of just to add a little bit more depth to this illustration. As it will be in the thing, it will have much more locations and stuff like that. And again, we're just trying to kind of come up with some type of feeling. Lovely. I'm very pleased with that. So, as I said, this is the character that will be in a book. It will be an illustration of a very starved character. And once this is kind of approved and once it fits in the story, then he will have to be drawn in a couple of different poses. There's a part where he's chasing the other character. So we'll have to take this character, redraw it with the expressions of the chase and everything else, and we will have to kind of repose this character. If there are certain things that we're unhappy about, one of the things is I was hoping to have a few little kind of whiskeries. And although that sometimes can kind of break the character a little bit, make it, I don't know, sometimes you add in whiskers to things. I think that a lot of times people imagine it with a rat or something kind of lower down in the grade of people's perception of animals, although a rat is not a low animal, but in people's perceptions it is quite often seen that way. So sometimes if you're doing something like a fox or a wolf or something like that, I would use them to kind of, again, to strengthen up that idea that he is desperate. He has gone through a rough time, and again, that's going to add to our character here in this situation. So there will be, I'm not sure if I will video them, but if I do, I'll show this drawing as a reference, and then I'll show the new pose, maybe of him running or jumping or climbing a tree or whatever he's doing in the story. So that today is our desperate wolf, our desperate fox, depending on, I guess if we do lots of reds and stuff like that, reds and oranges and little drops of purple in there, it would be a beautiful fox. And that would also add to the character. So that is today's drawing. Although it's not framed as usual and it's not signed as usual. Oh, I could possibly sign it, why not? As it is for an illustration, but let's just put my name on there. Easy to take it off if it goes into the book. Of course it will go in the book. But I would love to hear from you. I would love to know what you think about the character and everything else. What do you think about the video? What would you like to see more in the video? Anything that you would like to say, I would love to hear it. Always nice to get comments. Always nice to know that there's people out there watching it. Although at the moment we're getting about 20,000 people a month watching. So those 20,000 people, go and buy the book. But it's nice to know that there is such an interest in the drawings, which is beautiful in itself. So thank you very much for being here. Thank you for watching. Thank you for all your comments and your support as always. And if you are in the mood, please go along and buy the new book, Ghostabulous. I think you'll enjoy it. So I will see you again here tomorrow. Thank you very much. See you again. Bye bye.